independent world. Labels now are almost more just a distribution and marketing partner. You know, the bands go out, they hit the road. And I'll tell you this, the majority of where you're going to make your money as a band is on tour. I mean, even I sing in David's solo band now too. We put out the record Sleeping Giants last year. It debuted on 13 Billboard charts. There's been a couple great singles that have done really well. But even that, we make a lot of, we go on tour. We put out the record. I mean, every night, that merch store, that's a pop-up store for your band, for your brand, for your music. And that's really the greatest gift there is, man. You take your stuff. If you can get a label to put it in some stores, that's great. But really, I mean, the key for me, from my side, from the label side, is really touring and getting out. Fans, people say that people don't want physical media, but they don't. I mean, I work with Slaughter and Autograph and a lot of legacy artists too. You know, people go to the store, they want to buy a record CD, get it signed. It's become more a sign of interaction with the band that people buy the physical media. So again, to me, it really getting on tour and playing and getting in front of an audience. And I remember I always tell this story, it was great when Papa Roach first started, before they were signed. Kobe, after the show, every night would be out in the audience with a handful of CDs, selling them to people, hustling them, you know? And that guy right there opens from Dead by Wednesday. They play with us in David's solo band sometimes, and they're on our label and they tour a lot. They do the same thing, man. You gotta really get out there and hustle and meet people and be aggressive but fun, and that's really, to me, that's where that lies, you know?
Great. Bobby, why don't you kind of bring us up to speed? Outside of touring, because touring is great if you're an established artist, you got a name, but if you're an opening act, an establishing artist, obviously we're talking about film and TV licensing, we're talking about streaming, we're talking about sales, we're talking about some of these other areas. Why don't you talk a little bit about where you've seen some developing artists, you know, generate revenues?
Well, I think one of the big things, and one of the fallacies that's being sold to musicians and to artists, bands, is the fact that you can't make money on streaming. You can, but you have to readjust what your target is. Because we live in a world, or we used to live in a world, where 1 million of something was a lot. In our streaming world, 1 million is barely getting you in the game. You're kind of in the game at 10 million, a minor hit is at 50 million, and I'm talking about streams, I'm talking about views on YouTube, for instance. That may seem like it's a big reach to some of you, but I know several artists that are making $30,000, $40,000 a month that you probably have never heard of, and they're doing it from streaming. So it is possible. You just have to reach that audience. You have to know what the audience is, you have to be able to target it, and you have to market the hell out of it in order to get to it. But it is possible to make some real money via streaming. So don't let anybody tell you that it can't happen, because it is. And as a result, there's a very nice middle area in the music business that's starting to develop. And that was kind of decimated for a while, but it's coming back. So I want to give you some hope that there is hope.
Yeah. One of our bands has like 40 million views on a couple of their videos, and again, it brings in a pretty significant revenue just from that. You know, one just hit 30 million, the other one's at like 5, 10. It does. And definitely, Jed, if you can find that target and the lightning strike, you really can make great money off of that.
Well, again, a lot of it is the combination. You have your physical sales, your streaming revenue, your tour, your merchandise. You know, all of these are really important avenues. Maybe not one of them is going to pay all your bills, but when you get them all generating revenue, they can all simultaneously grow. And we see, we're with Alliance, you know, distribution. They sell millions. They sell over like 1 billion, you know, units a year. So we were just with them at CES last week. Don't believe that vinyl and CDs and all of that. I mean, there's people selling cassettes and everything now. So, you know, I remember when everybody pushed vinyl out, like, oh no, we don't want any more records. And they were like $4 or $5. Now they're back and people willing to pay $30 for the same thing. It's like, why do you push it away? You know, it could have easily coexisted, you know, with CDs and streaming and all that, you know. Our motto is give the people what they want, how they want it. They want it on USB, they want it on a t-shirt, they want it on, you know, however they want it. Just support great artists, because, you know, there's one thing that's so great about NAMM is in these buildings, why we're here today in this week. It's the epicenter of creativity. We have some of the most brilliant minds and some of the most creative people in the world. And, you know, if you like what they do, support them, you know, whatever it may be. You know, if you want that physical CD, you play it at home or in your car, or you stream it, tell your friends about it. Because again, in streaming, you got to do a lot bigger numbers. But, you know, there's a lot of innovative merch ideas. We're going to be shouting some of you guys out. Mike, you come from the tech world. Tech This Out talks about, you know, the innovations and what's happening out there. Why don't you see some of the ways, not necessarily in the future, but right now, where you're seeing some creative people in the music space, you know, generating revenues?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'd like to say, how many people in the audience want to make money? That's the name of this panel. So one of the things that I'm doing besides Tech This Out is just one of the brands. The company is Digital Mindscape. We focus on, you know, our concept of humanizing tech into everyday life. Leading the crusade on developing this 2020. This is January. Smart artists. And smart artists are what I define as those who are leveraging technology to further connect with their fans, create immersive experiences, and ultimately ways to monetize. The seed of this all is being a brand. Understanding who you are, understanding data, especially for those of you guys who are in California. We've had a new data law that has come into effect. I have some friends that is leading the crusade in conjunction with being a smart artist called Protect Your Data. And this is all a part of understanding analytics and all those good things that is about you, the brand, and how you can really scientifically make money in the 2020 era, because that's where we're at right now. So I do focus in on the digital thing because that's the big play. I'm happy that you can co-sign that there is money in streaming. I'm very big on collaborative efforts. Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace, he says it's the marathon race. The bigger picture is the human race. And you know, with the tech companies being the big examples, Apple really came from Microsoft. There's a collaborative effort right there. Imagine what you can do in the music game with the people that are among you right now. Now you guys can make some money. You want to make some more money? Get at Mike Johns when we get outside. Mike Johns, hashtag we the culture.
Plug. Cheyenne, we've known each other a long time. You know, from the physical world, we're now in streaming, but physical, we're about to gear up, you know, vinyl, CDs, and everything for your new release. You work in these stores, in these, you know, restaurants, in the Starbucks, in the, you know, the Verizon stores. Talk about how you've found these niche markets to bring it to the people. You know, everybody loved to be, you know, at the Forum or the, you know, the Staples Center and all that, but until you're there, you know, we talk about the tortoise and the hare a lot. Anybody know that story about the tortoise and the hare? Yeah, let's hear it for the tortoise. All these people we mentioned that are filling stadiums, they were the tortoises. You know, the hares are the people that are in jail or 6 feet under or all sorts of places now other than moving forward. You know, a lot of these, you know, Billie Eilish, you know, next door here, she started as a tortoise, you know, at 14. So, you know, the whole idea is Beyonce, you know, all of them, Jay-Z, they're all tortoises. Metallica was a hell of a tortoise. You know, it's slow and steady to grow. The faster it happens overnight, the quicker it goes away. Once you talk about creating these niches and some of the innovative stuff you're doing to generate revenues.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that is probably most potent for me that's allowed me to have the kind of success I've had is I love music. Like, I really, really love my shit. So it's like, you know, it always starts there. Where you at in your soul, where you at and how you see things, what's your affinity for making music, for writing things, for listening and studying. And I was raised and blessed to be raised in a family where my pops is the #1 music fan I've ever known. He collected everything from country and western, blues, rock and roll, soul, hip hop, jazz. And it's something, you know, when you're an artist and you're trying to become something, and oftentimes you can kind of get clouded with other artists that are trying to do it too, and you kind of forget like where consumers is at. But I was raised by a consumer, a true, like this dude got his check, went straight to the record store,
and got busy, you know what I mean? And you know, I was raised with that. Every Friday, that's what will go down. So my thing was, I wanted to step outside of the industry game and get into something that was down home, something that felt like grandma's basement. And I got an opportunity to start a culture with Starbucks where it just was beats, rhymes, and me doing some blues, R&B crooning over tracks, kind of just blending into the wall with the current coffee vibe. And it just grew into something. But it really was just a love thing. I was able to apply my business skills to it, got connected with, you know, Paula Boggs, who's former executive vice president of Starbucks, lead counsel for Starbucks Global. She came into 23rd Jackson Street store, heard what I was doing, fell in love with it, brought me into corporate, gave me global license, and 9 years later, you know, we're releasing this product to the world. But this isn't a culmination of, from Starbucks, Barnes & Noble came, Target came, Verizon came. And so, again, just starting with a mentality of, I just want to get in the store and just do what I love to do, and I'm dope at it. And so if you can find whatever that piece of it is, where you allow yourself to get vulnerable enough to just get to the root of your culture, then you know, you're usually going to fare out okay. People are smart enough, as long as they're not trying to compete with you, and they're actually sitting there in a room and really enjoying what it is that you do, you're going to win in that environment. Next thing is you got to have team. I'm an entrepreneur, I build teams, I believe in having a staff. I do not think I can do anything, although I try to do anything and everything, but none of it really can get done to completion it can't come to full fruition without a squad. So if you are just starting right now, take your friends, turn them into something. Like, yo man, you just focus on IG. Study IG, you study Facebook, you study YouTube, learn the platform, see how they're evolving. Go through the tutorials. You got it. It's an investment. It's an investment. But I think as soon as you get like synthesized with how things are moving, it becomes add water if you don't. It's really that simple to me. So you seriously want to make money, it starts there. Then the fun stuff happens. Sponsorship, streaming opportunities, licensing. I'm into all that kind of stuff. I don't want to hog up the mic going through everything that I'm into, but I can definitely tell you that if you have it in mind and in soul that you're committed to your craft, you cannot lose. The rest is you just kind of walking it out. Second piece to that is find people that believe in you, that are dope in their capacity, whether they're dope at marketing, somebody like Mike Johns or somebody like Bob, and so on and so forth. Find those people that are about it in their craft and in their way that can join with you, collaborate, think about what you want to give them in equity, share the pie, and go move.
So important. You know, it's really, again, if you believe in what you're doing, whoever you approach, whether you're approaching sponsors or that concert or club booker or, you know, any type of people in the industry, they love to do business with people that are moving on their own. The people that got their hand out and they want to get to like first base and, you know, tie my shoes for me and you know, brush my teeth, that's not going to work. You know, if you're up and running and you have something happening independently, even without these major label deals and signing your life away and whatever you want to call that, more and more of these corporations are willing to do business with you. They want to join a train that's already moving. You know, you're like, hook me up, give me the deal, give me the budget. No, it's not going to happen. But if they see independently, you know, working with the great Kevin Lyman and Warped Tour for years and stuff, you got to get out there and start moving some stuff, moving some units. You know, any artist these days, besides making great music, and that's obviously where it starts, needs to be a promotion and sales machine, because you got to sell yourself not only on stage. You got to sell yourself to these companies. You got to sell yourself to the audience. You got to sell yourself. So get rid of the idea that sales is something corporate and sales could be as creative as painting a picture, you know, making a song. It's really exciting. I growing up, I always thought, oh, that's, you know, that's the squares, you know, the suits. Well, believe me, you know, once you turn the clock and realize that sales is creative as making music, damn. It's all business out there. Every one of these businesses may want to do business with you if your train is moving. Talk about that, Tom.
Well, with that, you know, that independent mindset, it's funny because I had to really, maybe 5, 10 years ago, recalibrate how I thought about success with an artist, as an artist. It used to be, okay, you go get a major label deal, and then you succeed. Now, there's, you know, and you had to make a hit record, you had to do these certain plateaus. Now, success is on an individual basis. Artists can monetize and build, you know, and it's funny, you were just speaking to this. Basically, a label now isn't going to be interested in you until you don't even really need them anymore. You build your stuff up to the point. But again, they can be an important partner to help take it to the next level. But the reality is you don't need labels anymore. You really don't. Almost anything you can do on your own. And if you can master the marketing and the social media like he was talking about, and master your branding and your imaging, and that's something that's so important to your logos, your branding, your imaging. I'm blessed to have Melody Myers right there, who does all of our stuff for David and Combat and Escape the Fate and a lot of huge bands. But that's a really important part, is to have a great creative vision and to lay that vision out. I mean, it's all part of the package, the music, the visual, the presentation. I mean, if you can build that all yourself, the platforms are all there. You just got to do the work and build a team around it. And, you know, it's super important to do that.
Yeah, Bobby, talk about that, you know, the mind state of step by step, you know, fan to fan, you know, growing, you know, because even the Great Wall of China didn't just get built, it was brick by brick. So that mentality of really growing something that's sustainable.
Well, one of the things that I want to say to that is the fact that I don't think it's any more difficult or any easier today than it was way back when, whenever that when is. It's always been hard to make it as an artist. That being said, like everyone here is intimating, the will, the people that I know that are successful are the ones that said, you know, I'm in this business, I'm going to do it until I can't do it anymore. And eventually, you find out that they become a success in one thing or another. So it's being able to kind of stick at it. So that's really important. As far as marketing yourself, you know, it really comes down to branding. Again, somebody up here mentioned it before. Branding is really important, to know your brand. Because if you don't, you can't really sell yourself. You can't market yourself. And that's a big part of what we all have to do. I mean, all of us have to do that. We all have a brand. We just have to discover it. And discover it from the really easiest parts first. I'll give you an example. Color. What color do you use? Now, take notice, I have a blue shirt on, and I have a blue jacket. And the reason why is because I heard enough from people along the way that were saying, hey, you look good in blue. Mm-hmm. Okay, I bet that works with me. That's part of my brand. Another one is your font. What font are you going to use? What font do you use for everything that you do? Your website, your profiles, if you can change it there, business cards, flyers that you're sending out. Find that font and use it all the time. That's part of your brand. These are very subtle, small things, but they're tremendously important. Because if you keep on changing all the time, people can't identify with you. They're not sure who you are because you're not sure either.
Mike, talk about some of the tools and the techniques, some of the things you're seeing out there tech-wise, just coming out of CES, seeing some of the tools that some of these companies are creating to help people make music, stream music, or get the music out there connecting, you know, with a potential fan base. Obviously, podcasts are exploding. Talk about, you know, how people can get their music out in some of these other new tech ways.
Well, absolutely. Well, first up, I want to comment on what both of you guys were saying, just kind of to summarize it. A lot of times when I deal with artists, one of the biggest things that I always say to them is, do you know where your audience is right now? Do you know where your audience is? And so when we look at, we're in the year 2020, and this is really big. I look at the world that we live in today. When we look at what yesterday was versus where we are today, it's very dynamic, very interesting times. When I look at certain artists, all it takes is a certain hook to blow up. We already see what social media can do, both good and bad. There's some whack-ass artists that are out there that got numbers that are blowing up, doing things versus real artists. You know, in the words of Donald Trump, we really got this fake versus real shit that's out there. But that's another story. What I want to talk to y'all, really get in is just say that you really want to know your audience. And when I talk about building smart audience, or smart artists, smart rappers, smart rockers, today more than ever, I mean, you got the power in your, everybody in here has a smartphone. The same phone that can power for NASA back in the 60s when they were taking people to the moon is in your pocket right now. So everything, information, all of that stuff is at your fingertips. You can navigate the World Wide Web. You can get on platforms and dashboards. That's the world that we're in right now. As a musician, it's platforms and dashboards. Cut the bullshit. It's really just that simple. Cut the check, go straight to your phone. Money is fun when it goes straight to your phone. Fuck up Wells Fargo and different banks when you got different apps that can actually accommodate that. And don't have me start talking to you guys about blockchain technology, that part. Don't have me talk to you guys about AI and the fact that we had a big ass layoff over at iHeartRadio, and a lot of this is due to the restructuring of what they're doing. But I'm gonna just tell you straight up and down, it's all at the hands of AI. Mm-hmm. So when you ask me the thing, hey Mike, tell them the latest and greatest of what is going on in terms of tech and music, you guys should definitely pay attention to AI and what it's doing. We were able to see things, real people that look real that were actually fake people.
It's artificial intelligence.
Artificial people. Yeah.
I don't know what AI is.
Deepfakes is another thing. So when I talk about AI and iHeart, here's what happens. Now we can get rid of the on-air personalities because we can, if it can be digitized, we can monetize. If it can be digitized, then we can monetize. Automation is real. It's not just in Detroit with the auto industry, it's happening right here in Hollywood. And there are a lot of musicians that also can be replicated too at the hands of AI.
I saw you get beat in ping pong by a robot.
Stop lying. Stop lying.
And
I got video of it.
He might have a deep fake on that. He might have a deep fake on that, but straight up, I really want you guys to know, like, you guys are, it's exciting times. We live in a world where everybody is judging things right on the outside. Right? If it looks good on the outside, I'm on the 405. Look at that house over there. Damn, it looks good. But on the inside, it's fucked up. Right? We've seen suicide, we've seen mental depression. You know about that. Come on now. Mental depression is real, it's all around us. What am I saying by this? This is the music that we need to also tap into. And I'm hoping that some of you artists that I'm now going to bless as smart artists who understood from Mike Johns, the Black James Bond, it's about being able to leverage technology, create immersive experiences, connect with your fans, and monetize. And I'm gonna really get more into that science, but I'm gonna charge you when we get outside. Church on the move.
Yeah, like I say, we apologize in advance. We're gonna be in first gear by the time we walk out this door. But this is only the beginning, it's not where we end. We got the Indie Entertainment Summit coming up. INDIEPOWER helps them create campaigns, artist development on a daily basis. We've got some amazing people in the house that are with us. This is just a tip of the iceberg. You know, I always say, if you like what you're hearing, come to the Indie Summit. This time's 100. You know, we do it for 3 days, not day and night. So very, very important to, you know, I always say you can never have enough.
Supporting LA, right?
Yes.
It's about supporting LA, so I got to give you a big shout out for what you're doing with that.
I mean, Southern California is the place to come because the speakers I have, and Rhonda to tell you, I can barely get them out of their office for an hour. They're not going to Philadelphia, they're not going to Dallas, I can't even get them to Seattle. I mean, it's unbelievable the power of the incredible speakers that we have every year. And that's, you know, what's great about Southern California. Who doesn't want to travel here? You guys enjoying your time in Cali, if you're not from here, I'm sure. But I always say you can never have enough knowledge, enough connections, and enough momentum. And like the tortoise in the hare, when you get that momentum started, it doesn't matter if it's moving fast or slow, you got to keep it growing. Because once the momentum comes to a grinding halt, it's a whole lot harder to get it started again. So you can never have enough knowledge. As much as I know, and these guys will tell you, I'm like a walking, you know, encyclopedia, but you know, it's every day I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to interviews, I'm watching documentaries, I'm studying. Because when I'm here to help Cheyenne or help Tom or help Mike or help Bobby, they need to know I know more than they do in a certain area, and I go to them because they know more than I do in certain areas. And together, that team, these people are about to win the Super Bowl. I know we got, you know, NFL finals tomorrow and Super Bowl in 2 weeks. You can imagine the complexities and the teamwork and the training and the studying and the preparation. It's like that in the music business, but we all have to be giants. We got to wear a lot of hats. You see a few hats here. We got to wear a lot of hats. Right? Hey, Josh, stand up. This guy makes this incredible thing called a canopy where you can change the patch on your hat every day. So you got the same cap, and you got your different logos, your album covers, all of that. You're going to be talking to these guys when you walk out the door. Innovative merch. That's what it's all about.
Real quick.
Well played, sir. Well played.
This is real serious, and we got with this artist. This brother came all the way from Chicago. His name is Beat Vance, and one of the things that he's doing that I want to really put attention to as we're talking about all the different things that is going on in this world, he's really out here on a mission to go ahead and register over 1 million new voters for the upcoming election to get some change going on in the White House. Beat Vance, can you stand up for him? We got a new campaign going on called Drip the Vote. Drip the Vote stands for, you know, drippy is the movement. Everything that's, you know, if you know. But we're going to translate it right here. You heard it here first with Jay. Democrats, Republicans, I am power. Drip the vote. You bitch. We got B-Band's going to be kicking that off. And we out here trying to get over 1 million new voters so we can create change up in here. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, man.
Cheyenne, talk a little bit more about, again, as you're gearing up this album, and I know it's been years in the works, how you see the lay of the land out there. I know these shows, these corporations are very valuable. You want your physical product, you want the digital, the streaming, all of that. How are you looking, and how would you advise some of these artists that are coming out with a new single, they're coming out with a new EP or album, to really start to think about this bigger picture?
I think I would say that from wherever you are, wherever your neighborhood, your community, there's all kind of things to get into. First step, if you're an artist, you have got to connect with people that just love music. I can't tell you how many independent artists, established artists I've seen around, you know, trying to do their thing, can't get stuff going. Every time they get in front of a crowd, it's full of a bunch of people that want to be on stage. I cannot stress enough connecting with people that just love to hear music. That's your audience. That's your crowd. That's your space and place. Those are the people that need you to be their sound doctor for whatever reason. Get in there and do it. If you're creating material, for me, before I even got to the Starbucks and all that kind of stuff, I was in schools and colleges. So I would go in and I'd disrupt in schools and colleges, and I'd get my meaningful content, shit that means the most to me, stuff that's going on in the world, stuff that's political, stuff that's social, stuff that's about love, heartache, tragedy, triumph, so on and so forth. And I'd go in and I'd blow full schools out. And I'd talk to the kids about the creation process. I talked to them about copyrights. I talked to them about my journey, so on and so on and so forth. All of a sudden, you got this attentive audience of people that are starting to admire your work, understand your brand a little bit more intimately. So I can't stress enough how important it is to just, from right where you stand, get grossly intimate with your audience, get to know them indefinitely. Like, you gotta really, really wanna commit to that investment. It can feel tedious, it can feel like it's a little bit too much work, but that's what you're here to do. You know what I'm saying? You're a sound doctor, you don't get no days off. You know what I'm saying? You are 100% ER 24 hours a day with your music. And so from there, you gotta be willing to collaborate. And right from where you stand, you can collaborate. You gotta understand the dynamics of the game. So I'll call Jay, and he knows it. I'll hit him up 11:30 at night, midnight. 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey man, you know, this is what's going on. I'm just finishing this. We just got to be doing that. I just met with so-and-so. What do you think? Well, Shai, that's great. But you got to think about this, and we need to put this into play, and so on and so forth. You got to have people that you can lean on, talk to,
bounce things off the wall with that you trust and you know in their skill set, they can give you some honest advice. I can't stress how important it is to understand the value of that, right? Like you're not gonna, there's no checks. I can't write checks for these cats. What they've gone through is priceless. So what you do is you form bonds and collaborate through equity and think about opportunities and potentials and ways that you can enhance one another's lives and everybody can make money in the long run. Think about disrupting whatever's going on that's not working for you right now through the lens of collaborating. Who can you collaborate with? What school could you go into and offer something? Maybe there's a hospital where kids, you know, are suffering from this, that, and the other, and you got a real dope acoustic version of whatever, and you can go in there and be disruptive with that. There's all of that. Lastly, real quick, the digital game. It's everything. Content is everything. But content is just life put on digital platforms. You have to live. You have to work. You have to go out and capture it. You gotta connect. You gotta find things you enjoy and you love. I don't give a damn what it. Look, man, if you love the Dodgers, say something about it. Drop your own national anthem. Do whatever, or protest it, whatever you want to do. Find creative ways to express what your ideologies are in life so you can keep giving your fans more of that feed, more of that fodder, more of that fire. There's never enough that you can do in the digital space, but you can't get carried away with it. That digital shit ain't nothing if it ain't talking about life. The videos ain't shit if they ain't recording somebody living or something going on. So that means you gotta be the liver, you gotta be the producer that's out there making life happen for people. And once you include people into that mix, they know you care about them, y'all will be all right, you'll figure out the rest.
I'm gonna say one thing, and this should sum it up. Again, in the digital age, all you gotta do is study the game. When I talked about the human race, the marathon, I'm gonna use Lil Nas as a good example. Let's just study the game right there. Now that he's did that, who's gonna raise the bar further? Before that, Jay-Z did a cool thing with his music being put on Samsung. Now look at all this, how this stuff is evolving in this digital age. And that's the race that we're in. That's where everything is going. So that creative stuff that you're saying, the content, every one of you guys are a brand. You gotta put that into content. You gotta put that into being on the media. 2 words, hashtag dashboards, hashtag platforms, hashtag get money, hashtag who is Mike John.
I wanted to speak real quick to what, you know, all of you guys said. I mean, the collaboration thing is so important. You know, it's fun being back here because I was here last year. And this year, you know, I had this weird journey to becoming an artist again and putting out a record. And now, I mean, and again, the collaboration is so important on the record. I mean, we did songs with DMC. We did stuff with Mark Tremonti, who now we're working on a new record, and Mark Tremonti is actually writing a few songs on the record with us. So, and the collaboration is so important. And David, that's kind of a cornerstone of what he does. We're both just collaborators. We collaborate with everybody on everything, and you just build an army of people you can call and do cool shit with. And you don't have to be friends with rock stars to do it. I mean, you just hook up with your friends and do cool shit and play shows together and do stuff and build something. And you know, even David, I mean, look, David's in one of the biggest fucking bands in the history of the world, but he comes to me and goes, all right, there's stuff, like you said, there's stuff I know more about than David does, you know, and that's where we have that cool, and there's times where, you know, he's just a genius because he's been around for 40 years doing it at the highest level. And, you know, there's times where I kind of defer to him and we go back and forth. It's cool to have that kind of respectful relationship with the team that's around you and the people, and believe, you know, you got to believe in them and they got to believe in you, you know, and that's kind of how the core of how me and David work. We have Melody and all of our people around us and our producers that work with us and, you know, other artists, and it's really a great thing to collaborate and build a team, and you can go from here to here to here, you know, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, no, it's so much about a team, you know, and again, step by step. I know a lot of people that really love music think that it's, you know, some fantasy world, that there is literally a magic wand or some fairy dust or, you know, one person's going to discover you and you can coast from there. And, you know, they say it takes over 10,000 hours to really begin to master something. I started doing the math. I'm like 2 million hours in, and I feel like I just started. You know, and you gotta love it because, you know, you do this all day, every day. You know, you look back and it's like, damn, those were some incredible runs and campaigns and breakthroughs. But it's all translatable to what's happening today and what's about to happen tomorrow. The fact that we're in a new decade, the 2020s, super excited. Really, there are no more rules. As long as it's legal, because nobody wants to go to prison, you know, you can really dream it and figure out a way to move it forward. But as long as you're moving it independently, I've never seen a time where even these so-called majors are now doing indie deals. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but there's a lot of artists out there that are turning down some huge advances from these so-called majors. You know, Chance the Rapper turned down tens of millions of dollars in advance from everybody last couple of years. Well, Warner Brothers just backed up the Brinks truck and gave him and his manager all these budgets, access to their worldwide staff and infrastructure, and they get 0% on a new project. It's not even Chance's record. It's one of their developing artists. So that's Warner. Warner, Universal, and Sony are now doing different types of deals they've never done before. That's the power of independence. That's what we call indie power. You know, you basically are running the show. They want to be a part of it. You're not going to sign off all your rights and profits and ownership. They got to do business in a different way, and they're doing it, more and more. Bobby, what are some of the things you're seeing that have really never happened before in this music industry to empower independence?
Well, I think it's the same old thing where now artists have the ability to reach out like they never have before. I mean, this is the same old tune that you've probably heard for a while, but it's so unique in our industry that this should happen, that it's turned everything upside down, like we're all saying here. And I don't see that going away anytime soon. As a matter of fact, you look at the major labels and you go, do we really need them? And the answer is no, except at a certain level. I think they're always going to be there, but if there's infrastructure that they have that you just can't recreate. So if you want to go from a star to a superstar, there's no other way. You have to go there. Up until that point, though, you can do a really good job on your own. It takes time, it takes a lot of effort. That's the whole thing. There are many artists that just want to create. They don't really want to do the other stuff. I can certainly appreciate that. And that's why you need a team. That's why you need other people if you can't do it yourself.
Well, unfortunately, we're wrapping up right now. I want to shout out a few people. So Dixon and Kim, you guys, great. Appreciate the help. Terrell Edwards came down from Canada, big part of our team. Rhonda, it's great to see you out here. Appreciate you coming out. Mike Albert from Megadeth. If you talk to Dave Mustaine, Mike Albert is top 5 Megadeth guitarists of all time. You talk to Mike outside here. Of course, all the great people, Chuck, Brianna, you're going to see perform. Hey, we got a little after party tonight. If you guys look on the back of your card, or we'll make sure you have the address. There's a place, Albert over here will hook you up with the address. It's called The Cave. It's right here. It's like a mile up Catella. And we're going to do some, come out and have a beer. Talk to us some more. If you got like some tracks on your phone or a USB, we got live mics and stuff. We just want to hang out a little bit more tonight. Have a little after party, a little after NAMM jam. But we appreciate Chuck and all you guys. Josh, you got some incredible stuff. All you guys I haven't mentioned, we appreciate you. And thanks so much for the NAMM staff. David and all the guys. We love you guys. Like I say, 10, 12 years straight. Give it up for NAMM. Our artist, Jizzy Warren, right here. So we're going to walk right up this door right now. We appreciate, rather than stopping any of us, just wait till we get outside. We'll talk to you for the next 20, 30, 60 minutes. And then tonight we'll hang out some more. So give yourselves a hand. We appreciate everybody coming out. Making money, making music. Let's get it.
Mike, great to meet you, man. Oh, yeah. I'll definitely hit you up, man. For sure. We got a